How y'all doing, man? It's Phin, man, aka Darion, man. You know, that's the real me. I'm from St. Louis. I grew up on the south side of St. Louis, what they call the third, the main district. Well, I grew up with my granny, and I was the only child there, but not knowing that I had a brother, a mother, I never grew up around them. I didn't meet my mother until I was 13. And at that age, I was already grown. I was already full-fledged in the streets at the age of 13. And later on in life, I was boxing for a little while, for like 6 years, then I stopped and got even deeper into the streets. And at that point, it drew me to 9 years in the penitentiary. But I used to think that was my downfall, but it actually grew me into a talent that I didn't know I had. See, when I was younger, my granny always told me I had freedom of speech. Don't never let nobody silence you. And that grew on me inside of prison. It grew on me into the point where I learned my freedom of speech became into a talent, something bigger than what I was. And it was what they call today rap. But I call it artistry. I call it my soul. I call it what I speak and what I am. And I'm doing this interview to talk about my life, but it's so hard to talk about what you live in, but it's easy to put it in a rap for me. It's easy to rhyme and base it on a beat than just say it. Because it's easy to talk about your dreams, but it's hard to talk about your downfalls. So like where I'm at with this is like, I've been through a lot in my life. I've been through a lot of challenges. I've been through gunfire, been shot, been through prison, been through everything that you can think of that the streets have to offer. But the blessing of it all, I can talk about it in this form and fashion. I can talk about it into where a person can smile, cry. My emotions also echo through a person's body to make them feel some type of way. So I don't feel like I lost. I don't feel like I've been deprived of anything. I feel like I grew. All my challenges made me into the man I am today. Like I say, late nights I stay up, I can't get no sleep. I think about the bad times and the good times of my enemies. Sorry, God, I gotta ask this question, I gotta see. If I died up in my sleep, would they remember me? Just imagine up in this casket, dressed in all this red. Mama got tears in her eyes like, damn, my baby dead. Couple weeks down the line, they say mama going crazy. She finally realized she wasn't a mother to her baby. Big brother wildin' out saying he gon' mow the city. Hoping the niggas that he riding with, hoping they ain't snitching. Baby mama ratted out saying her baby daddy dead. So a nigga had sympathy when he get between the legs. And the homeboys standing around acting like they give a fuck. On the first nigga they lied to, I'll be the first nigga they burning up. Sorry, God, just wanted to see would they remember me? Would they remember me? Would they remember me? And that's Phin, man. Look me up on Instagram, Pandora, D_PHIN. Put it on anything you listen to music to, and all my music gonna pop up.
Tell us about growing up on the south side, man. Like, what schools did you attend, and what did your grandmama teach you growing up?
I attended Roosevelt, Blow Middle, Louverture, every south side school you could think of. But the main thing that my granny taught me was, I could say how to cook. Not like no regular cook, like cook like your granny used to cook.
Mm-hmm.
Cook like home food, like spaghetti, mashed potatoes, macaroni, liver, all things like that. Like stuff that you get home cooked meals from. Like the stuff that when you walk in your granny house, you already know you finna be full as a motherfucker. Like that's the things that she taught me how to cook. But she ain't just taught me how to do that. She didn't teach me how to make a home cooked meal. She just taught me how when you cook this home cooked meal, you're cooking it for a reason. You're cooking it to feed your family. You're cooking it to provide. You're cooking it to give yourself patience, to give yourself discipline. It wasn't just about cooking, and I finally figured that out. So she taught me a lot.
What do you attribute to lead to your street life early in life? Like what sent you out to the streets early?
I was born into the street life. At the age of 4 or 5, my uncle used to have a plate full of dope. And my granny used to turn a blind eye, and she used to drink her Coke 45 and Virginia Slims all day and watch the stories, Young and the Restless, and everything used to be the same every day. He'd get high as hell and go angry, carry guns every day. They used to tell me not fun stories about my father, but stories of my father was a hitman, my father was this, my father was that. It was never, no, my father was a scholar, my father stayed in a book. We played tribute into destruction instead of the things that didn't make him more than what he was. So that gave me the outlook of the more destruction I cause, the more good I cause. Because that's what I was taught. They praise the things that destroy the person in life instead of praising the things that make you happy, so that's how I was raised.
What was your attitude like going into prison as opposed to getting out? What was the changes that was made?
Oh, when I went to prison, when I first went to prison, I felt like I was built for it. I felt like this is what came with. I was always taught, it's 2 things that happen to you in the streets: death or in jail. So I ain't dead. In my mind, I was like, I'm going to jail. And that was just part of life. My uncle went to jail, my family went to jail, everybody in my family, even my mother went to jail. So it was like at the point where my mother in the feds right now. It was a point where in my life where jail was just a passage of right for my family. You didn't go to jail, you wasn't doing nothing right for me. For my family, you weren't doing nothing right. Like, what are you doing out here in the streets? You just in the way. It mattered what you went to jail for, and it mattered what you did. Snitching could not be allowed. You would never be talked to in the family again. And you could not do anything that was like petty. It had to be something major, something that sent you to jail for 10, 20 years. If it wasn't 10, 20 years, you was looked at as a playboy, a clown. So where I'm at with it, like, when I walked to prison, I felt like that was what supposed to happen. But then I went to prison. I got an associate's degree in business management. I studied 3 years of law degree. And now I have the most articulate language that you can ever speak of or think of. I can outthink out of the most of any person that I run across. And I discovered my talent. I've discovered what I feel like I'm here for.
What's the plan now?
My plan now is to focus on my music. I haven't focused on nothing else. I've focused on everything else in my life, except for the things that make me happy, except for the things that I feel like God put in me that I never focused on. So now I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm just gonna let go and let God and focus on the things that He helped me build.
How long have you been involved in music?
I came home March 10th of 23. I made my first mixtape 11 months ago. Now I'm working on my second one. And the first mixtape is actually doing great. Now I'm on my second one. And hopefully that'll be the one to make me take off.
Do you have any children?
Yes, I have 3 beautiful daughters.
What do you instill in them? What do you try to teach them?
Same thing my granny instilled to me: freedom of speech. Don't let nobody silence you because you are not a silencing person. Don't let nobody tell you something that you have not did the research of your own. To respect themselves as a woman, respect themselves as a person, and just, whatever they dream, make sure they chase it, because that's a lot of people downfalls. They can dream of something as they're a kid, but by the time they hit the age of 14, 15, that dream falls apart. And I just want them to know, whatever you dream, stay focused on it. Whatever it is, like whatever you got to get to it, forget the path. The path is going to happen. Just focus on what you're trying to do. Once you think of something that you want to do, stick with it. Even if you find out it could be boring, just forget it. Just try it. You might try it, and this is exactly what you want. Forget the path. The path is just there.
What's your relationship like with your mom?
It's okay to a certain extent. See, my mom is aggressive. My mom is not no regular mother. She's a homie, guy, and you know what I'm saying? And
you didn't get that motherly love from her, you got it from your grandmother.
Yeah. My granny was the motherly love. I could say my mother was the father. I could say that.
What's your relationship like with your father?
I never met him. He died when I was 6 months. But I respect that man more than anything for some reason. He had more respect in the streets when he was dead than I thought he was alive, probably. They love that man more than like his hood, his family, to his cousins, and people that just heard of him. He had like a lot of respect. So from that standpoint, I look at it as when he died, he left a legacy. That it might not have been a legacy of like what everybody else may think, but he left a mark that the streets will never forget. He left a memory that somewhere on this earth somebody's gonna remember always. So from that point, I respect him.
So in closing, if you could go back and talk to a young Phin, knowing what you know today, you can talk to them early, what would you tell them?
Don't doubt yourself. Whatever you feel truly, that's it. Don't waver from that. You don't have to be tough. You don't have to be some crazy guy. Just whatever you feel like is the right thing to do, do it.
And also in closing, what legacy would you like to leave behind for your daughters to remember you by, or for your daughters to look up to you?
My music. I want them to know that every song that I write, everything that I put together has a soul of them in it. So like, my legacy is my music, and I want the world to know it.
So in closing, also, now's the time. If anybody looking for you, anybody worried about you, wondering if you're okay, you want to plug your music, your social media, everything, now's the time.
Man, Darion Minor, Facebook, Darion Minor, Instagram, Darion Minor, everything. Is Phin, D space Phin. That is how you look up my music. And it's on Spotify, Pandora, Instagram, iTunes, iCloud. Anything that you listen to music on, my music is there on. So grow with me and I grow with you.
We appreciate you for sitting with us, Mr. Phin. Thank you.
All right, thank you.